What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Keep It Kula Podcast. My name is Jaclyn. We have some fun stuff to talk about. I know a lot of, recent episodes have been about the Blue Jays and the sad stuff of the Blue Jays, obviously, considering the Jays lost, Game 7, World Series, just needed 2 outs. That's going to stick for a while, and I'm sure I'll still talk about that here and there. Don't get me wrong, but starting to move on. I think a lot of people are where, it doesn't feel the way it did, after those, the past couple days after losing the World Series. It was really hard to think about the team and all that. Now, life goes on. Obviously, you're on to the next sports. Still haunted by the Blue Jays, and every fan will be for a long time, and that's normal. That's just sports. Definitely still going to be a lot of Blue Jays talk on this show, even though, we're not celebrating right now. We are talking about free agency. Obviously, a lot of, big names in free agency, possibility of Bo Bichette returning to Toronto or not. That's a big question up in the air. The Toronto Raptors have been really fun to watch, and I'm definitely going to be discussing that. The Maple Leafs are not fun to watch, unfortunately. It's not a great time for the Leafs to all of a sudden have no energy in the regular season, especially after this Blue Jays loss. And some football talk as well. So, you know what? I also want to talk about my trip to Minnesota. I talked about it a little bit on the podcast that I was going on a trip to Minnesota with my cousin Leanne, who's been on the show twice before. She's a diehard Vikings fan, loves Minnesota. So we did a trip down there with our dads and had the best time ever. Definitely want to do more of a recap with her, but just some quick things that I want to mention before a proper recap, because we had a really great trip and really fun stuff to talk about. But without doing a proper recap, I'll just give a little quick recap. Is that went to the Timberwolves game, got to see Anthony Edwards play live. It was the NBA Cup, so I was worried about the neon green court, because if you guys watched it on TV, the neon green court is absolutely terrible for the eyes. Could not watch a game on TV. I think about a week prior, and then they were using the neon green basketball court, and I could not watch the game. So considering we were going to the game, Wolves versus Kings, I was concerned. However, much better in person. Does not hurt the eyes one bit in person. It is so fine. So I don't know what's wrong with it on TV. It's the reflection is really bad. It's so bright, but in person it looks really cool actually. So shout out them. Timberwolves were really cool to watch. Anthony Edwards seeing live, wanted to for a while. Great team, obviously. Sacramento Kings have some big names as well. Russell Westbrook, got to see him play. He started the game. DeMar DeRozan, fellow Toronto Raptors fans who watch this show, seeing DeMar DeRozan play live was really cool, because I haven't seen him play live since the Toronto days. So that was really, really cool. And yeah, Kings are an interesting kind of team, but obviously, I was cheering for the Wolves considering we were there for the Wolves game, and I am an Anthony Edwards fan. So shout out Wolves, and Julius Randle had a really good game. I know Dante DiVincenzo made some big threes, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Rudy Gobert, obviously a great center in the league. Anyways, great game. Minnesota was really cool. Stayed at the Mall of America, the biggest mall in America. Got to see Tom Brady open up a store. On our way to the Vikings game, we found out that Brady had a store opening up in the mall, so we got to see him, cut the ribbon, and he was throwing footballs around. I'm sure you saw it on social media. At the Vikings game, I saw Simone Biles walking because they were playing the Bears, the Vikings, so that was really, really cool to see Simone Biles up close. And shout out to Isaiah Rodgers. I saw him tossing the ball to some people, and I called out his name to catch a ball, and he threw it to me, and I threw it back. I think I made a pretty nice throw as well. So shout out Isaiah Rodgers. I also put it on my story, Keep It Kula Podcast Instagram, and he reposted it. So thank you very much, Mr. Rodgers. He had a solid game as well. The Vikings ended up losing the game with 50 seconds left to go. Great atmosphere though. I'm a Giants fan, and I've been to other stadiums before, but US Bank Stadium is pretty awesome. I don't want to talk too much about it because there's so much to talk about with it. So I will wait for my cousin Leanne to join the show to do a proper recap, but US Bank Stadium should definitely be on your bucket list if you're into checking out football stadiums, because it is really cool, and doing the school chant was really cool. So, I was a bit of a fraud considering I'm a Giants fan, but I like the Vikings, and I was there to support my cousin and my uncle who are huge Vikes fans. So very cool atmosphere. Minnesota was amazing, but that's my quick little 4-minute or so recap. Now let's talk about the Raptors, because Finally, the Toronto Raptors are exciting to watch again. I don't know, last time that the Raptors were fun, probably 2020 maybe, right? Maybe in the bubble season or something like that. Honestly, the last time I actually loved this team, though, was obviously the 2019 season when we won the championship. Shout out Kawhi Leonard. He came for a year and he dipped. Too bad about that. We could have really built a dynasty here, I think. I think it would have worked out for both parties as well because we see what's going on with the Clippers and it's not great. Anyways, Raptors. Let's look at the now. Let's look at the present. Raptors have been helping all of us Jays fans heal. This healing journey is watching a young and exciting Toronto Raptors team actually enjoying basketball for your team, right? I loved playoffs last year, basketball. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. If you guys watch the podcast, I was so into it, talking about it all the time. But I didn't get to talk about my Raptors because we were not a playoff team. And they also weren't fun to watch. Now, the Raptors are a real team. Scotty Barnes, I know he's been an all-star before. I know he was, named as the face of this franchise. But he's really coming into his own so far this season. I know the season just started. I know it just started a month ago, not even. But what we're seeing so far from him is a true winner. And I believe that he can be the face of this team and a leader, right? He's still young. He's not in his prime yet. And now he has a veteran like Brandon Ingram, who is also on pace to possibly having a career year as well. So things are clicking with this Raptors team. The ball movement, that's the biggest thing for me watching this team, is the ball movement is so top tier, which I feel like we haven't seen in the past couple of years. We haven't seen great ball movement, great relationship, right? We're seeing that Blue Jays energy of friendship. Because that ball movement like that, you have to have a connection, you have to have a relationship, right? You have to understand each other. And even though Ingram hasn't even been here for a year yet, we only traded him at the trade deadline a couple months ago. Traded for him. Things are clicking really well. Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Hurtle, Grady Dick, RJ Barrett. Everyone's coming into their own a little bit more this season. And I believe that the Raptors can be... Listen, it's a crazy take, but I said this about the Blue Jays. I said the Blue Jays were contenders. I'm saying that about the Raptors. I know it's very early and way earlier than I said about the Blue Jays last season. However, the East is wide open, right? Look at the two possibly, top teams of last year in the East. Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, right? Pacers are the worst team in the NBA right now, and that's because Tyrese Halliburton is out, right? We all saw his injury in Game 7 in the NBA Finals, which is one of the most brutal ways to lose. I know Blue Jays' loss was brutal in a different sense, but to see your star go down while he was having a great start to the game is also brutal to see. So Pacers, nothing's going on. I hate to see it, right? I love Pascal Siakam. Every Raptors fan does. And the Pacers just aren't doing anything this year. And it really shows you how important Tyrese Halliburton is to the NBA and to his franchise of being the leader, right? He's a young kid. He's a corny kid. Sure, he has fun, but he's a winner. And we're seeing that right now. Celtics aren't bad, but they're not dynamite the way that they were. But they also aren't the same team that they were with losing big names like Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Jason Tatum is also out, right? Their leader, their star. So the East is wide open, right? These top names are out for the year, meaning this is the chance for the Raptors to make a move. Pistons are a great team. We went into the season knowing that they were going to be great. We saw what they did last year. We saw Cade Cunningham. We know what to expect. The Cavaliers, same thing. Donovan Mitchell. They have Lonzo Ball on the team now. Things are working well. And then the Knicks are going to be the Knicks, right? They're still going to be that great team. I don't think they're going to be as good as last year, though. I think the Raptors are going to take over that spot of what the Knicks were last year, right? The Knicks kind of were, they were really dominant in the regular season. No one expected anything good from them in the playoffs. We were surprised, obviously, in that big Celtics series. I think the Raptors are going to take over that role, and I think the Raptors are going to be a top team of the East, right? I think it's those four teams, and I think the Raptors can really overtake those guys because nothing is stopping them, right? There's no one guy that is going to overpower the East, right? There's no one leader, right? You look at the West, yeah, you got SGA, right? You got the Thunder. You got Jokic of the Nuggets, right? You got LeBron, who just came back, actually, and I don't know what we're going to see from him at all this year, but you have those powerhouses in the West, and shout out the West because they are dominant. but the East is wide open right now, and this is a chance for the Raptors to do something. I know it's early, I know I'm getting excited, but I did that for the Jays, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to stay positive about my sports teams because the Raptors are actually really fun to watch for the first time in several years. So very happy to see what I'm seeing. Coaching is great. The connection is great. The fans are loving it, right? The atmosphere at Scotiabank Arena is amazing. I'm excited to be going to games this year. For the first time in a while, I'm excited about the Toronto Raptors. Looking forward a little bit to trade deadline. I know I'm really, really jumping ahead, but people are talking already, and I know apparently, according to some sources, Anthony Davis isn't thrilled being with Dallas, and Dallas isn't really thrilled with having Anthony Davis. Really shows you that the Luka Doncic trade was a mess. We knew it from the jump that it was a bad move, but it's becoming worse and worse. Mavericks are kind of falling apart, and I think they're really trying to enter a different kind of build because of drafting someone like Cooper Flagg. I think maybe they want to get rid of their veterans, and Klay Thompson, also a Dallas Maverick, also a veteran, someone maybe that could be on the trading block. I would love to see Klay Thompson on the Toronto Raptors. Don't know if that's going to happen. I'm really just speaking out of what I want to see. But we have a very young team, very new team, exciting team, a lot of draft picks of this Raptors team. I would love to bring a guy like Klay Thompson and kind of like a George Springer. I know I'm relating it back to baseball, but George Springer had his career with Houston. Legendary stuff, right? World Series MVP, World Series champion, all-star, all that stuff. Comes to Toronto as the veteran. Not so sure how it's going to work out. Obviously, this past year, it worked out really, really well. I kind of see that with the Klay Thompson. I know that there's different stuff with Klay. He's dealt with injuries. He's not the same player that he once was. But I would love to have that veteran presence a part of this team. A winner, a champion, one of the Splash Brothers. Right? I thought Klay Thompson was going to be a warrior for life, and obviously that's not what happened. I would really love to see the Raptors make a move for Klay Thompson. I don't know what they would give up. I'm thinking maybe it would be picks, maybe some young guys, because the Mavericks are clearly trying to build something else than what the Raptors are doing. Right? We have our young guys, but we also want a couple veterans. That's just how I view it. If I'm in the front office, I want that one veteran that wants another year to kind of prove himself. If this is the last couple years, I want someone that's really going to put it all to be a champion, to end out their career. So that's just what I'm putting out there. I want Klay Thompson on the Raptors. Let's make it happen. That'd be pretty sick to see. We need another star. I know Scotty Barnes will be the face of this franchise, and I'm hopeful that he will be. I wasn't hopeful last year. I was saying trade Scotty, trade Grady, trade RJ. I don't care. I want Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know all that free agency craziness did not go the way we thought it would. With Giannis, he stayed with the Bucks. But what I'm seeing so far on offense, on defense, on leadership is that Scotty Barnes is the man for Toronto. But I would love to have one other star just to kind of be there. It's kind of like a Vladdy Springer situation. Scotty will be the Vladdy of the team, the leader, the young guy, the one who's having fun, the face. And then you add that veteran who is another face, do commercials, all that good stuff. But yeah, love to see Klay on the team, and just excited for basketball. So I'm hoping to talk a lot more about basketball. Some episodes coming up, our interview coming up soon. We'll talk about basketball very, very, very soon as well. But lots of exciting stuff. Going into hockey, the Leafs are not fun. I don't really want to talk about them. I don't think people really want me to talk about them. Let me know in the comments though, please, because if you guys still want me to talk about hockey, I will. But I just don't think people really care to hear about it because they're not good. The Leafs are just not good. I know they're dealing with some injuries, of course, but they're not fun to watch at all. They're kind of like what the Raptors were for the past couple of years, is that things don't look good. The puck movement isn't good. The defense isn't good. The hustle isn't good. It's not fun, but things can change. Obviously, it's a long season as well as, basketball's a very long season as well. Things can go downhill with the Raptors, but right now, things are up for the Raptors. Things are down for the Maple Leafs. Talk a little bit about football. So I know this is a Toronto-based podcast. I know I'm a Giants fan, but I also do love the Bills, as a lot of people who live in Toronto do. Not loving what we're seeing from the Bills. They've been a little bit on and off this season. They have some great games, bad games. They lost to the Houston Texans last night. In Houston, the Bills are just terrible on the road, which is just a fact that we have seen this year, is that they are terrible on the road. But they lost to Houston Texans 23-19 last night. Josh Allen didn't really have his best stuff. But the worst part about this is that they didn't even play CJ Stroud. They played Davis Mills. Like, it's one thing to play against, Stroud, who had a fantastic rookie year. I don't think he's as good as he was in his rookie year. Obviously, we've all seen it. I had a feeling that he wasn't going to be. But playing against the Texans, who are not good at all, and against a iffy backup quarterback, is really stressful for Bills fans. I think a lot of it is Allen doesn't have the weapons that he needs, right? There's some behind the scenes stuff going on with Keon Coleman, we think. They need some new leadership, I think. I think they need to make a change with head coach. I know many people disagree with me with that. I've talked about people, face to face, and people have disagreed. Things are not working, and was supposed to be Josh Allen's year, right? He won MVP last year. This is supposed to be the year where they finally got over the hump to win the Super Bowl. But so far, the way that they're playing against really bad teams, like, look at what happened to the Dolphins. They got crushed by the Miami Dolphins. So it's a little bit stressful. Listen, they're still 7-4, right? They're not the worst team in the NFL. But some of these losses are really, really ugly, and they need to make a change. They need to trade for a wide receiver, 100%. That is no question. They need to work on defense, right? You can't let Davis Mills beat you 23-19. Thursday night football, prime time. Bills need to make changes. Josh Allen is still the man, though. No question. I know he hasn't played his best stuff, but look at what he has around him. It's hard to do that. The Bills, listen, right now, I'm not going to say that they're a contender, right? They have not been good enough to be a contender. The Patriots, though. Patriots are a contender. Who would have thought that Drake May could win the MVP this year? Not Josh Allen. But I still think that the Bills can figure it out. Things change. The Bills can figure it out, right? We've seen it with the Chiefs, where the Chiefs also aren't very good, but they'll probably figure it out in the playoffs, and that's kind of what we see all the time. But just looking at football as a whole right now, the Giants it's not fun right now being a Giants fan. Jackson Dart is out again for the game against the Lions with a concussion. Dart is the man, though. Dart will be the franchise face of this team. I'm so hopeful in him. He just needs to be a little bit more careful. He goes head first, unfortunately, and he's a rookie. He's learning still, but I'm very confident in what Jackson Dart's going to do. Cam Scadaboo, obviously, as well. Terrible injury that he suffered, and he's out for the year, but I'm so excited to see what he can do. Malik Neighbors, the Giants have a bright future, so I'm excited for what we're going to see from them. But in football as a whole, I would say the number one team are the Rams. I don't think it's the Eagles. Listen, am I saying that because I'm biased? Possibly. But the Eagles are just boring football. The Rams are really exciting. The Rams get figured out. Sean McVay is a fantastic, fantastic coach, and we've known that for a long time. But they are looking fantastic. And then looking at the AFC, Patriots are number one. And Drake May is the freaking man. And the Patriots are just looking great. Colts also are a very interesting story going on there. I still don't have faith in Daniel Jones. All the years of being a Giants fan and watching Daniel Jones play for us, it's hard to be confident in that team. I don't really see him getting anything done in the playoffs. I think they're going to figure out the right regular season. They have a great system, great running back, obviously, but I don't think Daniel Jones is necessarily their guy. And then Seahawks I know everyone's really hot on them. I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think Sam Darnold's a winner. Right? We've seen him have great systems and have great regular seasons, but we haven't seen him do anything in the playoffs. I think that's kind of what we're going to see again this year. So right now, and also the Broncos are pretty great. I don't necessarily feel confident in them going into the playoffs. I know they're getting some big wins, but I haven't seen anything special from them. I know that they're closing out games. I know they beat the Chiefs last weekend in a tight game. I don't see anything special about them yet, but I will watch a little bit more because I do want to study a little bit more of Bo Nix and what the Broncos are doing well and why they have a great record. But right now, I think the best team in the NFL are the Rams. All right, I think that's going to do it on today's episode. I definitely wanted to talk about the Minnesota recap, but I'll do that a little bit soon. Minnesota was awesome. The Raptors are great, so make sure you're watching the Raptors. Blue Jays. I know I did talk about the Jays actually, which I'm gonna just before I end it. Free agency can go on for a while, and we don't know when Bo Bichette is gonna sign. If he's gonna sign here, if he's gonna sign elsewhere. I want Bo Bichette back, and I think every Blue Jays fan feels the same. That we all want Bo Bichette back. And I think the team strongly wants him back as well. How much will they be willing to pay him? That we don't know. Will Bo want to return? Yes. He wants to play with Vladdy. He wants to play with this environment. He loves these guys. I think he will return. I'm confident that he will return. If he does not return, where will he go? I know a lot of people are saying the Yankees. I really don't think it's the Yankees. I really, really don't think he will go to the Yankees. If he does, that will break a lot of Blue Jays' hearts. But I'm hopeful that he will stay here. I know people are talking about Kyle Tucker. I don't think we're going to get both. I think it's going to be one or the other. If we get Bo, we get Bo. If we get Kyle Tucker, Bo is gone. I think that is what's going to happen with this team. Pitching, obviously, want to make some improvements there. I think a lot of our guys are staying, though. I don't see the Jays trading anyone either. I hope to keep this squad together for a long time, as we all said after the World Series loss, that we want to see this group of guys sticking together and making, improvements together. Jeff Hoffman of it all, I don't know what we're going to see from him. I think we give him another year as the closer. At least not the year, but we start off the year with him as our closer and then go from there. I'm excited about the Jays. It doesn't hurt as much thinking about the Jays. Well, I said that, and then I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about the season, and I felt that again, and I thought I was over it. So I think just all of us, I think every Jays fan, you're never fully going to be over it. We'll never be over it fully, but it's important to watch other sports and move on and just enjoy sports again. So watch the Raptors. They're fun, right? We don't know what we're going to see from them, but we're having fun watching it, and that's what we want. All right, that is going to do it on today's episode. I thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please follow my Instagram and TikTok at Keep It Kula Podcast. Once again, thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.